Hi, I'm Chris at Howstuffinmycarworks.com. In today's video I'll be showing you how to change the valve cover gasket in the 1999 323 IS. The first thing you want to do is remove the plastic covers. Remove the oil filler cap. Remove the bolts with the 10mm socket. Remove the plastic cover. To get better access to the valve cover bolts, remove the center plastic cover. Remove the bolts with the 10mm. The plastic cover. To avoid dirt getting into the engine, we're going to clean the engine off with compressed air, but to also avoid, we're going to put the oil cap back on. To avoid hooking up the coil up wrong, mark each connector by number. To unplug the coil, lift up on the metal bracket and unplug the connector. Repeat that with all the coils. It's not necessary to detach the harness on each wire of the coil. Just unhook it right here. The coils can go to any cylinder, but if you want to, you could label them with numbers. Using the same 10mm socket, remove the bolts on each coil and take them off. Remove all 6 of them. Depending on how many miles your car has, you might want to change your spark plugs while you're doing this valve cover gasket change, especially when you have to remove all the coils. On the very last coil, on the very last bolt, you got to use a smaller socket to get to it. Remove the breathing tube by squeezing the plastic clamp and pulling out at the same time. Remove the ground straps found on each end of the valve cover with an 8mm socket. Once the nut is loose, remove it with your hand and remove the ground strap. Same thing with the rear ground strap. Remove the center valve cover bolts. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. The first 2 are studs for your ground, and your last one is a stud for the ground, and the center right here is just a bolt. Some of the rubber seals did not come off with the bolts. Use a small screwdriver and pry them off. Using your 10mm socket, remove all your outer valve cover bolts. On the last bolt, use a short socket because of the limited space. Use a screwdriver and go underneath the gasket all around it and pry it up gently until it comes off like that. Don't want to do it too much or you might potentially break the valve cover. Wipe the edges where your valve cover gasket will be sitting to avoid leaks. To show you how brittle the gasket was, this is a piece of the middle seal that was supposed to come off of the valve cover and it's just like not rubber anymore. Flip the valve cover upside down and pry off the old gasket. Use a towel to wipe the gasket mounting surface. Once you're done cleaning the mounting surface, install your spark plug tube seals. Next, install the gasket. Once your valve cover has a new gasket, install the valve cover back on the engine. Install the new valve cover bolt seals, followed by the washer. Install the bolts and the studs back on the original locations. You're going to have to do about 2 stages of tightening these bolts to avoid warping the valve cover. Start with the center bolts and work your way around. Once all your valve cover bolts are tight, hook up your ground wire in the center, your front ground strap, and your rear ground strap. Tighten up the ground strap nuts with the 8mm socket. And your ground wire. This is actually a perfect opportunity to check your spark plugs, so do it. And it depends on the mileage of your vehicle, but if they do need change, change them. And then once they're all done and changed, you put your coils back on. Tighten it down with the 10mm socket. Hook up the connector. Lock in the bracket. Repeat that with the rest of the coils. Make sure you hook up your ignition coil wire harness back on. Hook your breather tube back on. Install the plastic cover back on. There it is. Install the upper cover on. Start your engine and make sure there's no oil leaks. Alright, looks good. I know how easy it is to change the valve cover gasket on the 1999 BMW 323 IS. Tune in next time for more repairs.